Hi, everybody. David Z. Morris here from the lab in Bushwick, where I write about cryptocurrency and fraud and AI and fraud. And I wanted to talk just briefly about a post that I put up this weekend. It was an excerpt from my work on a documentary called Tornado Cash Breaking Code, which will be hopefully coming out in the next couple of months. We're recording it right now and looking for distribution. But it's about the criminal trial of Roman Storm, which took place in the Southern District of New York last summer, and I covered every day. And this is going to dive into some of the background and history, as well as getting into the details of the trial. The post that I put up yesterday was an excerpt from the script, specifically focusing on one witness named Katie Lin. Han Feng Lin is her actual name. She's a Taiwanese immigrant to the United States, but she goes mostly by Katie. Now, Katie Lin in about 2022 was defrauded. She was the victim of something called pig butchering. They stole about $250,000 from her by getting her to buy Bitcoin on an exchange called Crypto.com and then send it to a fake investment platform called NTU Capital, which is where they stole the money. Now, Katie Lin was a witness in Roman Storm's trial because after her money was stolen, she hired a tracing firm called Payback.com to figure out where her money had been sent. In crypto, it's on the blockchain. You can kind of trace it. Unfortunately, the prosecution, before putting her on the stand, does not seem to have done any checking at all into Payback.com, what it was. Because the FBI in 2024 opened an investigation into Payback.com as a fraud and scam that was getting people to pay for fake tracing reports. It appears that this is what happened to Katie Lin, and the government prosecutors going after Roman Storm didn't catch it. The trace that Katie Lin got from Payback.com claimed that her money had been sent in part to Tornado Cash, the mixing service that Roman Storm designed but could not control, which is one of the key issues at the trial. The trace also claimed that money had been sent to Coinbase, which Coinbase later explicitly came out and said was not true based on their own analysis. But the evidence that Payback was fake actually came from the FBI itself. So you would think prosecutors would actually have their finger on the pulse there. Sorry, Steve is here getting a little bit squirrely. Now, in 2024, the FBI not only started an investigation into Payback.com, but seized and shut down several of its domains or of companies operating as Payback. There are also warnings from authorities like the German Financial Authority saying that this is a fraudulent service that gets people's money, gets them to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to do a trace, and then just gives them something that's made up. The really scandalous part of all of this, because immediately as soon as this came out from third parties after Katie Lin's testimony, the defense started calling for a mistrial, or at least saying that they might call for a mistrial. The really scandalous part is that the government then came in and assigned tracing of Katie Lin's funds to a completely different witness than they had originally signaled might be the actual witness, an IRS tracer named Stefan George, who actually doesn't have any training in analyzing blockchains and used instead an accounting method called last in, first out to try and trace Katie Lin's funds. It's not a reliable or even meaningful, really, method of tracing blockchain funds. And in his own testimony, not only do we have the FBI saying that Payback.com is fraudulent, we have Stefan George, who's supposed to trace Katie Lin's funds to Tornado Cash to prevent a mistrial because he has to prove that her money actually went to Tornado Cash for her testimony to be relevant. He admits at the end of his testimony that there was no actual proof from his own analysis that the thief was actually the one who put Katie Lin's money into Tornado Cash, or in fact that was Katie Lin's money at all. So read that post, check it out. It is paywalled, as with many of my deeper dives and excerpts from bigger projects. That is paywalled because it's incomplete, it's a work in progress, and so I don't necessarily want the public to take it as gospel. There might be problems or omissions, but if you're a paying customer, paying reader, you can get a sneak peek because you're supporting my work, and I really appreciate that. So go davidzmorris.substack.com. You're already seeing this on Substack, so enjoy and read it, and there will be an audio documentary that you can enjoy in a couple months coming out. So take care, everybody.